In this video, I'm gonna talk about Megacopter, Blades of the Goddess. The story, if I understood it correctly, is as follows. A race of lizard people wants to make humans eat radioactive pizza cheese in order to turn them into aggressive zombies. You have been promoted to pilot an ancient bloodthirsty Aztec goddess who literally identifies as an attack helicopter. We're not in serious territory. I don't believe that any attempt was made at being serious. I think it could have helped though. It would have lent some credibility to the pastiche of the early 90s aesthetic going on here. The dialogue between missions is telling me that the work does not believe in itself. Or maybe that it's afraid of success. It's got this I'm 12 years old and this is funny energy going on. It doesn't wait for failure to happen. It provokes it itself to establish some form of control. It's like a kid who says something outrageous, and he would have sold it as a joke just fine if he hadn't broken it all apart with the 4 worst words you can end something with. I mean, what? Fortunately, that's not required to do everything else, which is to blow up everything in your path with all manners of machine guns, rockets, plasma cannons, and good old laser beams. Each weapon has particular strengths and weaknesses, but figuring out which ones to bring along will depend mostly on your personal playstyle. That playstyle will boil down to choosing what you are confident you can deal with, and what you don't want to put up with, and thus equip the weapon that gets them out of your sight as fast as possible. The biggest advantage here is that we are going from clunky and bizarre Super Nintendo controls to a more intuitive mouse and keyboard style. Although, strangely enough, the bullets fired in the air do not go to the same place as the bullets fired to the ground. By that, I mean that if you aim to the side, your aim indicators will drift several degrees off one another. Not a problem when you are in control of the situation, but performing switch-ups in the middle of a fight demands the development of a reflex to flick the mouse just to make sure you're shooting at what you actually wanted to blow up. Another issue pops up in the form of the camera, and if you are like pretty much anybody in the first world nations, you probably use a widescreen monitor. You'll find out the hard way that you can shoot things that are out of sight, and these things can fire back even if they are not in your field of view. You're left to try and get them on the side in some hope that they're going to be visible, but that's a crapshoot even then. A recent patch introduced a camera zoom level, but even with it pulled all the way back, you'll sometimes run into situations where you get shot at before you even know what the hell's shooting at you. It won't take long to get through the experience. 6 hours, maybe 5 if you don't screw up. The length isn't too much of an issue. The missions aren't really an issue either. You have things to attack, you have things to defend. Things to transport, things to get back. A bit of light strategy now and then, basically some variance to enjoy. It's just that I want more. I want Megacopter 2. Bigger and better. In my arrogant opinion, there should be a sequel, and it should take itself completely seriously. There's no need to come up with a fancy story. Just say that somebody wants to nuke the world of the free, and that's good enough. Don't force anything. Let the ridiculousness of the era do the work. Keep the story halfway believable, and make me go to more interesting places. Get me into the inside of a volcano base. Make me fly into the middle of a disaster zone. Have me enter cyberspace. Introduce even more variance into the environments. Give me opportunities to witness new kinds of mayhem. Right now, I'm seeing the first tentative attempt. I'm seeing baby steps. I'm seeing the leap into the air, but it's not as high as it should be, because the mind faltered at the last moment. When it comes to paying honor to an aesthetic known for being over the top, it's of capital importance to own it. Only the audience must judge that the shebang is exaggerated. The medium is the vessel for wackiness, and it must never lampshade it, no matter what roundabout way it uses. It's counterintuitive as hell, but there exists a fine line to walk when it comes to 90s ultraviolence. It has to remain grounded. Next time around, follow through. That's all that's needed. Get serious and don't falter. It's like stepping inside a hospital with a lab coat, a clipboard, and a stern look on one's face. The act must not trip over even once, or else the whole thing comes apart. There's a lot of potential waiting to come to light, so don't waste it. Go forth, find friendly developers. Show us what you can do when you really believe. In short, this game is Neo the first time he jumped.